Interesting setup for Bitcoin going into the weekend. Ethereum is building pressure like a compressed spring. I'll show you my pending limit orders, potential long entry zones, and the exact level where you can catch the golden long setup. And one more important question. Was the alt season already? Should we still expect it? And how long it can realistically take. Welcome to your daily cryptocurrency and Bitcoin market overview. Today is October 25th. Let's start with Bitcoin, and specifically with something very important. The CME Bitcoin futures closed around $110,090. And you remember our weekend strategy, right? On weekends, liquidity is low. Because of that, manipulation risk is high. So opening new futures positions during weekends is usually a bad idea. But there is one exception. If Bitcoin drops noticeably below the Friday CME closing price, for example down to the $109,600 liquidity zone, then this creates a window of opportunity for a scalp long entry, with the expectation that by Monday's market open, the price will bounce back toward the CME close. This pattern works in 95% of historical cases, and that's not a small probability, definitely worth using. I explained this in detail step by step in the educational post in our Telegram. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend checking it out. Now, moving to Ethereum. If we look at the chart, ETH is still trading inside a triangle formation. And judging by the volatility inside this structure, price may remain in this triangle until the first days of November, about another week. So the key idea here is simple. Most of the market is trying to guess the breakout direction. They're placing emotional longs and emotional shorts inside the triangle. And as you know, trading with the crowd is one of the worst strategies possible. A real safe long entry appears only after a liquidity sweep, not before. ETH to BTC chart still looks extremely bullish, and Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame is very close to breaking down toward 57%. Both factors together strongly suggest that Ethereum is preparing to show strength over Bitcoin soon. The only question is how the local breakout will happen. Like I explained earlier, in many cases, triangles break with a false move first. So if Ethereum dips below the lower triangle boundary and goes to grab liquidity under $3,700, then during that panic wick into $3,615, $3,560, that's where we can get a high probability long setup. From there, the rebound is very likely to be strong. Same logic applies to BNB. If price dips below the psychological $1,000 and reaches around $953, that could also be a great long entry zone. And also Doge. If it sweeps liquidity at 0.172, 0.166, expect at least a solid bounce. More updated and detailed setups will be in the Telegram channel, as always. For now, I want to avoid making predictive forecast one, because right now, any forced prediction is effectively casino behavior and can easily push you into emotional trades. Instead, we wait for the breakout, and then we join the real move, not guess before it happens. Since it's the weekend and you probably have some free time, I really recommend listening to the voice message I shared yesterday in our Telegram channel. In that voice note, I talked about something extremely important: patience, the vulnerabilities of our brain, and dopamine traps. I explained the real mental bugs that traders fall into and how market beneficiaries, those who move liquidity, understand our weaknesses better than we do. They exploit them to take our positions, and it's crucial to be aware of that. In that same voice message, I also shared my personal battle-tested trading principles, the only rules that truly work. And they will definitely fit your trading mindset too. Plus, I broke down in detail what happened on October 10th and how I managed to make massive gains within just 1 hour. This is not one of those success stories after the fact. It's a real case study, and I'm sharing it so that next time you'll know exactly how to use a similar opportunity when it appears on the market again. I'm confident that after you listen to it, your results, your relationship with the market, and even your psychological state will change completely, forever. Highly recommend it. The link is in the description. Let's talk a bit about gold. Recently, gold has been moving in a climactic phase, And now we are seeing the first signs that it may shift into sideways consolidation or even a correction. If the market gives us that opportunity, then around 3,830 could be a great spot to look for a scalp long setup. At minimum, a strong bounce from that level is very likely. And if you didn't know, you can trade gold directly on most crypto exchanges, tokenized under tickers such as PayXG, Pax Gold. We've already traded it multiple times and captured very solid moves. Now, about the relationship between gold and crypto. Typically, gold moves in inverse correlation to the crypto market. When gold rises as a safe haven asset during uncertainty and fear, crypto tends to correct. But when gold tops out and enters consolidation, liquidity rotates back into risk assets, including Bitcoin and altcoins. This pattern has held even in this cycle, despite everyone saying the market has changed. For example, in August 2024, during the carry trade risk and recession fears in the US, Bitcoin dumped below $50,000 while gold hit a local peak. Then later, Bitcoin rallied above $100,000. And in December 2024, at the local crypto top, gold reached a cycle bottom and started rising on insider accumulation because Trump was preparing for trade tariffs. Then in April 2025, when ETH was at $2,500 and BTC at $74,000, gold formed its top again, and crypto began recovering soon after. So if this inverse correlation continues, and based on historical chart lag, usually around 56 days, then a major crypto move could begin within the next 2 months. Now, let's take a look at Ethereum compared to gold. If we open the ETH Chabardishas gold chart, we can clearly see a bullish structure forming. This pattern looks very similar to a bull flag, the same type of setup we traded before on Useless, where we captured a very strong move. So even in the short term, Ethereum continues to look stronger than gold, which means ETH can begin outperforming as soon as volatility returns to the market. And on the higher time frame, the monthly chart, the behavior is almost perfectly cyclical. Every cycle, ETH forms. Long accumulation. Repeated tests of the same resistance, then a clean breakout followed by parabolic expansion. And finally, the end of the bull cycle. This pattern has repeated every cycle since Ethereum was created. And in the current cycle, we have seen only consolidation. No breakout, no parabola yet. So right now, one of two things must be true. The crypto market is finished forever, and there will never be another alt season. Or the alt season is still ahead, and this cycle has not completed. And based on everything we're seeing, infrastructure, liquidity, institutional involvement, the second scenario is far more likely. You have not missed alt season. It has not happened yet, and there is still time. There is one more chart that can really help clear your mind during times of doubt. And that is the altcoin market dominance chart, excluding the top coins. Remember how I said earlier that emotionally today feels exactly like December 2020? Back then, we also experienced a painful liquidation event, a long period of sideways uncertainty, loss of confidence. Altcoins are dead. Narratives everywhere, and right after that period, alt season began. Now look at the current dominance chart. Today, the dominance of altcoins, excluding the top assets, is trading even lower than it was during that depressed period in late 2020. Meaning, the capitulation today is even deeper. Participants are even more discouraged. Confidence is even lower than back then, and this is extremely important. Most people in the market right now are not confident holders. They are hostages of their positions. Before, in 2022, 2024, they were afraid to miss alt season. Today, they are afraid that alt season will never happen. This is exactly how market bottoms form. Maximum doubt, maximum fear, maximum exhaustion. On top of that, the chart still has a huge distance to return even to the mini alt season levels of March 2024, not to mention the peak of the 2021 cycle, which is more than 2x higher from here. So if you believe that this bull cycle is not over, then it is simply too early to say alt season is finished. And now let's talk about Litecoin. Litecoin is a historically strong and proven asset. It has survived every cycle. It has backing from large miners and institutional players, and it has a very real chance of being included in the first wave of altcoin spot ETFs. And the long-term chart of Litecoin looks loaded, like a rocket waiting for ignition. Litecoin has not started its breakout yet in this cycle, and historically, Litecoin often begins before the final alt-season wave. This is not a meme coin, not a hype token. This is a macro signal. If you're panicking, switching coins, forcing trades, remember the rule. Your portfolio is like a bar of soap. The more you handle it, the less of it remains. Patience is the hardest skill, but it has the highest payoff.